Okay, so the title of this video is the DOMINOPE. And by no means am I knocking the Festool domino. I'd love to have one. I just can't afford the $1,500 price tag. But here you see, I got these plans from a guy named Izzy Swan, and he made this machine to do what a domino does and then some. I cut all these parts off of camera because you've seen people cut parts a million times. The little blue knobs I printed with my 3D printer. And here we are with the cart trolley, marching on for business. If you don't have a clamp trolley like that or a clamp cart, I highly suggest you make one. Bringing your tools over to the bench with you, having them close at hand is just wonderful. And there I was watching to make sure I didn't hit the camera as I was spinning this thing around. And voila, look what we have. Okay, so this is the router tower, and what I did is I went through and I made all the pieces, and as you can see, I took blue tape and I labeled all the pieces as I made them. Now, Izzy's plans are available on his website. He did not send me these plans for free. I purchased the plans. I just knew that when he claimed that he made a domino machine for less than $100, I was very intrigued. What this is a groove to raise and lower the height of the router, for height of cut or height of plunge, I should say. Slides back and forth on that track. And I will admit I made a few mistakes while I was building this thing. You know, you look at a picture and you put it together backwards, you have to take it apart and redo it. But that 3D printer and those knobs came out perfectly. Holds it pretty secure. You can pound on it with your hand and it won't move until you loosen that up. It's really, really slick. And you just follow along with the color prints. Now that brings me to the next thing. The only critique I have of Izzy's plans are a guy like me who's colorblind has a little trouble with colored plans. So his drill schedule was color-coded. I couldn't see the color, so I couldn't drill the holes correctly. I had to get my wife involved to help me. Now what I showed you there was clamping your stock to the bench when you're drilling those holes to hold everything still. Is just a little trick I use from time to time. But this is the base, I should say the tool work base. The whole base is underneath of everything. Squaring up things, making sure things work correctly, go together correctly. Just like that. Nothing to it. Looks just like the picture. And there we have the match fit top that you cut out. Now here, I needed some dowels, and true to form, I'm not going to buy them. I'm going to make the dowel I need. And I have one of these little doodads right here from, I believe it's DFM Toolworks. And these things are slick. And as you're going to see right here, you're going to go into one of the holes and keep progressing down through with the drill. Some folks use a hammer and drive them through with a hammer. I just choose to use the drill. It makes a smoother finish. And just like that, you have a dowel tree. I had to test it to make sure that it slides back and forth. I'm not going to give you too many details of the plans because Izzy is charging for those, and I don't want to get in trouble with Izzy for telling you things like angle of cut on those slides and etc. I encourage you to go to Izzy's site and get yourself a pair of these plans because they are really, truly great. And as I said, I did cut the holes the wrong size, so I backfilled them with some 5-minute epoxy. I'm not sponsored by that brand in my left hand, but that's the one I used. After I re-drilled the holes, we put the handles on and we test for function. It's working very nicely. You can't imagine, well, I guess you could imagine, but it's just incredible how smooth that thing works back and forth. Here we're going to mount the router. And yes, those holes are threaded into that plywood. It takes extremely small amounts of tension to hold that thing in place. Just lining up the collet with the edge there, and as you can see, it all functions very smoothly. It's moving on the bench because I hadn't clamped it yet. Now here I'm showing you with one hand, very difficult to show you, but this is a depth stop on the front end to stop the plunge depth. You lock it in place with another one of those fancy blue nuts. Knobs, blue knobs. This is a left and right stop. Again, fancy blue knob. I'm just thoroughly impressed with this machine. It just works so well that I'm so glad that I had a router, so I only spent like $50 to make this thing. And it's pretty straightforward. It plunges in, you move left and right, and you create an oval shaped hole. Just like this. I will say I got a little rammy in the beginning, and what that does is waller out that hole a little bit. So when you're using the machine, you want to be gentle, easy peasy lemon squeezy, moving smoothly back and forth to create the opening. But it does work extremely slick. I want to thank Izzy Swan for making these plans and for making this machine, because as I said, it only cost me about $50 to make this thing. And it's going to get used all the time. Shaky, shaky with the camera there, Vernon. Just like that, we have an oval-shaped hole. All right, I'll show you some features here. There's the depth stop forward and back. Here's an unnecessary black walnut handle. We have an unnecessary beech handle. We just wanted to pretty it up a little bit. Again, the left and right stops with the Makita router. I did buy the clamps. That's where the most expensive part came from. We come around to the back and you can see that blue knob that locks the router in place for elevation up and down. But there you have it. I want to thank everybody for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, go check out Izzy Swan's YouTube page and get yourself a set of these prints and make yourself this machine, at least until you can afford a Domino. All right, folks. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next one.